Hey, I'm Meghann Scully, and this is the Limerick Post Show. And as you can see, we are coming from our homemade studio as we are all working from home. We have a jam-packed special show for you today. Coming up in the big interview, we caught up with some local Limerick businesses to chat all about the coronavirus and how it's going to affect them in the short term and in the long term. First up, though, we did celebrate St. Patrick's Day a little bit differently this year. Parades were cancelled, but the people of Limerick got together and sent us some incredible homemade videos. And here they are. Happy St. Patrick's Day! So as we all know, St. Patrick's Day, our Sammy's Day, is a really important day here in Limerick City and County. But now St. Patrick's Day 2020 is going to go down in history. Not because the parades got cancelled, but because you got creative at home. We've asked you to send in your videos of your St. Paddy's Day digital party, and here are some of them.
Patrick.
Boy.
I'm too sexy for my love, too sexy for my love, love's going to leave me. It hurts, and I am too sexy for Milan, too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
St. Patrick's Day from me and Breezy.
So tell me, what does it mean for the community?
It's absolutely
brilliant.
fantastic.
Absolutely
When I
brilliant.
heard it was happening last night, now
we're just delighted for him, you know, and it's great that we can't get out ourselves like for it. So it's great to have it happening. You know, that's it.
You're very emotional.
He's very emotional about this whole thing. Just worried about
he's great. Not no.
So this is my 18th year doing this. Many years ago my kids went to Busy Bees and as part of one of St. Patrick's Days. Vivian runs Busy Bees asked me to come in, just give the kids a little bit of taste of what St. Patrick's Day is and the bands and the whole uniform and the noise that comes from the bagpipes. So we started with that was 1 year, and then the second year we made into a little bit of a parade. Kids came out, had a lovely banner, they used to march behind and we'd march up and down. This year unfortunately we couldn't do that, so We said we still celebrated. The neighbours often come out, so just to give them something for St. Patrick's Day to enjoy, because we've no parades. So decided that we'd do today, keep the tradition going, and thank the neighbours for all their support over the years as well. My own in-laws live here as well, so we wanted to give them a little bit of a celebration.
How are you coping?
Okay,
We're just keeping ourselves
we're
locked
basically
in.
locked in.
Yeah.
By the two kids, Joni's our kid in Killow and
Barbara, and they come in every day,
Okay.
you know, just to make sure we have everything.
Are you missing the grandkids?
Oh God, we are. Yeah. That's the work part of it, you know.
It has to be done.
It has to be done. You're the same one.
Yeah, has been on that.
To see all those St. Patrick's Day videos in full, head over to limerickpost.ie/show. Next up to our Out and About section, we caught up with Julie Kilmartin to chat all about the education system and what you can do as a parent, as a student and as a teacher. First up though, we chatted to Elisa O'Donovan to see how she's coping.
Hi to everyone in the Limerick Post. It is Councillor Elisa O'Donovan here. I am delighted to be coming from you live from my home in O'Connell Avenue and my study. This room is where I have spent pretty much every waking hour since last Friday. And I want to share some of what I've been getting up to and what we can all do in Limerick City going through this really trying time at the moment. So as I said, I've been spending most of my time here in this room. I usually get up in the morning and I write a little timetable for my day in my diary. That really helps me to structure my day and at least to know when, what I'm doing and to give myself sort of a break to go into the kitchen or a break to go into like the living room or just something so I can kind of structure my day a little bit, because routine is really important, and it's really important to me, I find, and my mental health. So keeping a little routine in a diary every day at the start of the day has been really helpful. I'm actually meant to be on my final placement for college at the moment, which has obviously been deferred due to the current situation. So what I try and schedule into my day is a little bit of study, because I am meant to be studying. I have all the time to study, but it's very difficult to sit down and actually study. But I find if I timetable it, it gives me a lot of satisfaction to tick it off the list once I've done a bit of study. The other thing that I have been doing is just to try and keep up a little bit of exercise. So I try and timetable in maybe a run or a walk. I've been trying to keep away from places now that have been getting quite busy, like Mungret Park. But usually it's just a run around Mary Eye, because that's fairly kind of quiet with people and people are maintaining distance. So that's really nice. But I have made part of my basement into a makeshift gym. So me and Joe Wicks have been working out loads. He's been really tough on me with the workouts. I've been following him on Instagram and he is helping me to keep fit during this. So fair play, Joe. You're doing a good job of keeping me fit. So that's really helpful as well. There's loads of online videos and trainers that you can follow to do at home workouts. In the evening time then I usually schedule a little bit of downtime and relaxation, and I've been catching up on reading some of the great authors. This is Roisin Meany's book, The Birthday Party, and I'm rereading it because I really enjoyed it. I read it a year ago and to be honest, I've forgotten it. So it's lovely to be able to reread some of those, and it's just a great bit of escapism during these sort of trying times. And then the other thing I've been doing is, obviously I'm a Social Democrat councillor, so it's been very, very busy with people who are understandably very, very anxious, very worried in Limerick, whether it's business owners, whether it's families, whether it's carers, just so many different people have been getting in touch. And I really encourage them to get in touch because ourselves and the Social Democrats, we have been having up-to-date conference calls nationally as a party with our party leaders, Roisin Shortall and Catherine Murphy. And this has really enabled me and facilitated me to give the most up-to-date information for people, because literally every hour it is changing. So it's really important, if you need anything to do, feel free to get in touch. I guess I just want to say as well that it is really important that the people of Limerick adhere to the Department of Health and the HSE guidelines at the moment. We are seeing people congregating in groups, particularly young people. And there are also people who maybe the message isn't getting through in relation to social distancing. It is really important that we only go out for walks and things like that, either by ourselves or as a family unit, or as a unit in the house that you're living in. If you are to meet up with someone else, if you have to meet up with someone else, then do please maintain at least 2 metres or 6 feet between you and that person.
So Julie Kilmartin, we're here in one of your classrooms, obviously a lot emptier and quieter than usual. Can you tell us what exactly is going on?
Absolutely. As you can imagine, we have been effectively shut down, and rightly so, Meghann. This has to be done for the goodness, not just of ourselves, students, parents, Ireland, the whole world. So for the foreseeable future, obviously, we will not see the happy, smiling faces, well, supposedly, that used to be coming into us. So everyone effectively now is at home. However, we are coming around this in our own little way. For the first time ever, in many respects, we're switching over to online platforms that I have never heard of. Zoom, I now know what Zoom is. Skype, well, yeah, sometimes we would have used Skype. So we're moving to different ways to try and get information out to students and record. Some of our classes are pre-recorded, some are going out live. And here's a good one. How about a live stream from Julie Kilmartin's in Limerick with Alan O'Brien, 5th year honours maths, with practically a full class of students last night, and that was live. Now, I find that very incredible to think that students would do that on St. Paddy's Day, but they did. So there's ways and means of getting around this. It makes it a little bit more difficult, I suppose, for teachers like ourselves to come up with systems that will work to get the information out to students and get them back into the classroom, if the classroom is indeed at home.
I suppose students are stuck at home, the schools have been shut down, so I guess, they're not allowed to interact with each other, they're told to stay indoors and stay away from each other. But I suppose, in a way, they need this because they need stimulation in some way, and they need to be able to keep up with classwork and have something to do.
Indeed. It's like everything else is trying to get into a routine. For example, when it happened to us on Friday morning, people said, Julie, you must be gone home. Are you flying out? Are you taking a cruise? I said, no, I'm not. I'm going to come back in and keep my own routine. I'll do my 9 to 9. I'll do my 9 to 5 of a Saturday. I'll do my 9 to 7 of a Sunday. And I think that's going to be very, very important to students, that they keep some form of routine, getting up in the morning, having their breakfast, getting their little bit of revision done. They'll probably have an online class from their own school or coming directly from ourselves. So it's not that they haven't got tools even to them at home. Sure, they've got Google, they've got study clicks. There's so much out there for them to help them. I would say to them, they have nothing really to panic about. What they're losing out on in more ways than one is the social interaction. But in terms of material for classes coming from ourselves or coming from their own schools, it's there for them. And remember, there was never a good time for this to happen in any shape or form for anyone. But if it was going to happen at any given time, perhaps maybe we're coming towards the end of the school academic year. If this happened back in October or November, then yes, we'd have a huge problem on our hands. But in many respects, Leaving Certs in particular and Junior Certs, they practically have their courses finished. Yeah. They were coming into wind down time, coming into Easter revision courses. And by April, a lot of students anyway were probably going to spend a lot of time studying at home. So let's put a positive spin onto this. Let's see this as a form of, you're a few weeks away from your exams, you're doing revision, you're going back over material that you already have learned. If there's pressure on anyone, let's look at it. It really is on the Department of Education and Science who really have to come up with a solution to a problem, and I'm sure they have contingency plans in place. And as the weeks progress, they'll press various buttons and say, okay, we're doing this, we're doing that, whatever. So we have to wait for them. So I would say to students, keep going as you're going, get your little bit of revision done, keep in contact with your school or whoever is there to help you. And of course, the importance of your social isolation, really, to look after your family, to look after your parents, to look after your grandparents. And we'll get through this. And as they say, it's, we're all in this together. And the importance of your mental health and the little bit of exercise that you're going to have to get out there, a bit of fresh air. So there's a lot of pressure on a lot of people, but for students, the pressure really is on the adults. We have to come up with the solutions to solve, by and large, your problems. And we are coming up with them. Every day there's something new coming out. We're launching something new. So I would say to all, we'll say exam students, secondary school students more so, because we don't tend to deal with the primary students, we've got you covered. Yeah. We're out there. There's so many people looking after you and making sure that we have all the solutions for your various problems. So let's keep positive about all of this.
Julie Kilmartin, thank you so much. And look, we'll all get through this together.
Indeed we will. Thank you.
We're here at Arthur's Quay Park in the heart of Limerick City, and as you can see, the panoramic wheel is up and running, but there are no people getting on. It was here for the St. Patrick's festivities, which of course have been cancelled. Also, so many shops, restaurants and bars across Limerick City have had to close their doors. We spoke to a few business owners around Limerick City about the short-term and the long-term effect that this is going to have on them. We're here at Limerick Chamber, and I'm joined by Dee Ryan. Dee, I suppose very scary times for a lot of local and I suppose every business in Limerick City and County. What advice would you have for them?
Well, we issued a statement on behalf of our board and our members on Saturday calling for businesses to observe the recommendations from Taoiseach to work remotely where possible, and calling for government to put in place the necessary measures that are needed for employers to be able to move their teams into remote working practices. Now, over the course of the weekend, we've seen an awful lot of that come through. We've been actively on it, and we were delighted this morning to be able to circulate to our members this new, much easier one form that employers have to give to their employees to fill in if they have to make someone lay someone off as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. We also are able to confirm that that form is available for the self-employed to use. So if you're self-employed, you're a photographer, an event manager or anything, and your business is gone as a result of COVID-19, you need to fill in this form as well. And yesterday we negotiated with the manager of the local enterprise, the Department of Social Welfare here in Limerick, that they will accept those forms by email. So people can download that form from our website or from the Department of Social Welfare's website. Fill it in. It's one form. You don't need your employer to fill it in. If you are an employee, you don't need anyone to stamp it. You just need to, the applicant themselves signs it, and you can email it into the Limerick office here at limerick@welfare.ie. Or you can, for employers, people who are in charge of a number of employees who unfortunately they're giving bad news to this week, that they need to temporarily lay them off while we manage this crisis, this healthcare crisis. Those people, we would advise them, please get your staff to fill in the forms with you, and then gather up the forms and post them in to the Social Welfare office here in Limerick, Dominic Street in Limerick. And they're doing the best that they can to process those applications as quickly as possible. The government has announced that everyone will get €203 each over the next 6 weeks. And it's really important that you don't present, where possible, you don't present in person to the Social Welfare Office, because obviously they're trying to maintain social distancing and best practice for the health of their employees and the people calling there as well.
Also, I suppose a lot of independently owned small businesses like coffee shops, cafes, smaller bars, they seem to be quite frightened, and we've been already told that they have to lay staff off for the foreseeable. So what can we do maybe to ensure them that, that like we're also over there for them afterwards, and that I think there's just a lot of frightening around.
Absolutely. There is a lot of, we're hearing a lot of uncertainty from employers over the weekend and today, and you'll even see it yourself if you're out in town, around town. There are people on the street, there are people going into shops. Now, Limerick Chamber's message is follow the Taoiseach's guidance. If you can work remotely, do. And I'd even go so far as to say today, if you have the option of closing up, close up. It's the responsible thing to do. We need to look after our Midwest Regional Hospital. We need to ensure that the pressure is reduced on those healthcare workers who we are all relying on. So I would put that message out there and urge people to take responsibility now for their social interactions and to, where possible, limit them completely.
We're here in Rift and I'm joined by Dalton, and obviously the big conversation is about COVID-19. But let's first talk about Rift. When did you first open here?
We opened in January 8th, 2018.
And I have to say, I think that Rift is definitely responsible for a lot of coffee addictions, but also I think you introduced so many people in Limerick to coffee, because there's a lot of people out there that were predominantly tea drinkers. And I know as well, you've got like so many well-known faces that come in here every day to you, like the same people I see. I come in here all the time and I see all the same people. So I think Rift really has created a real sense of community. So you must be very proud of that fact.
Yeah, I'd like to think it's down to me, but I think it's down to the people who just want to enjoy something kind of that tastes good, essentially. But I'd like to think we have built a community here for sure, yeah.
It is absolutely incredible. Now, obviously, the reason we're here to talk to you is about COVID-19. You just told me that today is the day that Rift is going to have to close its doors for the foreseeable. Like, I can't even imagine how you're feeling, but I suppose if you could put it in words, like, what is it like?
It's very uncertain. I guess this will be the first time where we're forced to close due to something other than, business performance. So far we've been going quite strong, building slowly, but now it looks like we're being forced to close, and also for the safety of the public as well and for the staff. But yeah, now it's definitely real. I was on the phone to the banks this morning trying to get an update on what's available to us. Unfortunately, there's not actually that much, and the application process to kind of defer loan payments and all the rest, it says it'll be at least a 3-week application process, and it doesn't really seem like they're trying just yet anyway to help in this regard. There are facilities for overdrafts, more loans, but we took out a substantial loan for the new business that we're trying to open as well. Not great timing. So yeah, it's quite uncertain, and especially for our staff.
Yeah.
It looks like that we will have to let 6 people go indefinitely until we actually are a bit clear with how we can open, because we can't afford to continue to pay people, even with the new incentive with the social welfare, where they're asking employers if they can to pay the €203, I think it is, a week for the job seekers until we get back going. But honestly, we can't. We won't be able to do our loan repayments if we can't operate. So this industry is very tight like that. If you close for 2 weeks, it could mean your business, unfortunately.
And I suppose it's a tricky time, and there's so many of you in Limerick City and County and all across the world in this same scenario. And obviously we're sitting here in Larder, which is the new venture. Obviously it's going to take a hold now, but what is your hope for when this all blows over?
Yeah, the hope is just to open again as if nothing had happened. I think the best part about this is that there seems to be more community now, especially with business owners as well. We're all talking to each other. Customers have been messaging me saying, how can we help? Can we set up some type of payment scheme, which is incredible, obviously. So we're going to look towards that, and then if we are closed, we might try to put more efforts into getting this finished, this project, as much as we can. Obviously, builders may stop working, but the idea is that we open, we're ready to go from the get-go, and I think people at that stage will want to be out. So we just need to get to that stage where we can reopen.
I think that you just kind of hit the nail on the head there, the sense of community. And I've even noticed over the last few days, everyone is rallying around everyone. Everyone wants to help each other out. And I think, with somewhere like Rift, your customers are here, especially people who are here on a daily basis, like they'll only be looking to get back in the doors again. So I think if there's any positivity to come from this, it probably is, as you said, the people that are reaching out, the people that want to help. But I think the main thing maybe that people can do is buy vouchers. That could probably help in some way.
Yeah, for sure. We might try look into setting up a prepay scheme where either you can buy vouchers or you can pay for copies like you do every day, especially for regular customers, and then redeem them when we're back open. It just means that there's cash flow just kind of going, and we're not looking for anything other than what you pay for already, and you just claim it on the other side. We'll try work on some schemes like that, or maybe we'll open for an hour or two for people to collect retail coffee in the next few weeks, and we'll stagger times. We'll try and make it as efficient as possible and safe as possible if we can.
I think as well it's safe to say you're going to be very busy on social media when you are closed, because I know that there will be the regulars and everyone that comes to Rift to have some of your amazing coffee. Dalton, all we can say is we wish you the best of luck and we cannot wait to have those doors back open again.
Great. Thanks, Meghann. Thank you.
We're here in Mike O'Connell Menswear and I'm joined by Donal. Obviously very difficult time, and how are you guys feeling at the moment?
It's very hard business wise. The footfall is down. There isn't too many customers coming in. Everyone's a little bit nervous about what's going on.
And I suppose the big thing is a lot of weddings have been postponed and are all being pushed back to much later in the year. So I guess for you, having suit hire, that is probably having a massive effect as well.
It is. It's having a huge effect, especially on cash flow for weddings that were going on next week, 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time. They're all after being postponed and put out maybe until October, November, and that's having a huge effect. That while there's a small deposit paid, there isn't any huge money passing hands.
And now I know the government haven't said to close all the doors yet. Have you decided yet when you're going to close your doors?
We haven't decided yet. We're trying to wait and see how things go with the government, what announcements they make. We just have all the facilities in place with hand sanitizer and all the usual things that everyone's doing.
I know everyone, I suppose, is taking precautions. But what advice would you have for the local people that, in a couple of weeks' time we will be able to open all our doors again?
Just to come out and support local businesses in general when they can and when it's safe. Just to come out and really support local business rather than the multiples. I think small to medium-sized businesses will need the support in the coming year.
I think that is the main message. Get out and support all the local Limerick companies and businesses out there. Donal, thank you so much for chatting to us. And we look forward to seeing the doors open again.
Thanks a million, Meghann.
And finally, this Sunday is Mother's Day and we want to make a video just like our St. Patrick's Day video. So if you'd like to be involved, send us a little message for your mammy and the number is included below. For these stories and so much more, head over to limerickpost.ie/show. I'm Meghann Scully. This is the Limerick Post Show, keeping Limerick posted.